What is something good going on in the world that a lot of people aren't aware of? An eastern black rhino was just born, a complete surprise to the rangers who protect the 1,000 remaining in the wild. They are critically endangered, the rarest of the subspecies, and this is a monumental occasion. A few global public health things. We have made tremendous progress on ending the AIDS epidemic in the last 40 years. The percentage of adults that smoke cigarettes is lower than it has been historically. We went from like 800,000 cases of guinea worm in the world in the late 80s to 12 in 2022. More people than ever before have access to clean drinking water and basic sanitation, which is saving thousands of lives. More young women and girls in less developed countries are in primary and secondary education than ever before. More people worldwide are vaccinated than ever before, and a number of malaria vaccines are currently showing pretty positive results. Since 1990, the number of people living in extreme poverty has become more than halved, from 2 billion to around 700 million. The rate of infant mortality is consistently declining year on year. I work as a mental health therapist. There is certainly a mental health crisis, and there are also a lot of people who are recovering. Most of the people who I see end up recovering and graduating from therapy within a year. We talk a lot about how bad mental health is. We don't talk a lot about recovery in mental health. I'm a teacher, and my class is super kind and well-behaved for the most part. Gives me a little faith in our future. Thank you, original poster, for this question. So easy to get caught up in and only see the bad. I appreciate you drawing attention to the good. My older cat has completely accepted the new kitten I adopted. I've become the third wheel at home and I couldn't be happier about it. Small positive. Medicine and treatment for many ailments has progressed through the years, improving quality and quantity of life. As a type 1 diabetic, diagnosed 28 years ago, I agree. I remember when a simple thing, like checking my blood sugar level, took a couple minutes to do. Now, with continuous glucose monitors, they check every 5 minutes and give warnings if you're trending in a bad way. Instead of getting 4 or 5 snapshots of where your blood sugar is through the day, you get a graph that shows the last 24 hours. The expansion of renewable energy sources. Many countries are making big moves with wind and solar power. It's a positive development for the environment and the future, even if it doesn't always receive widespread attention. Yes, and new, cheaper solar panels that capture almost 3 times the energy have been developed by a South Korean company. Researchers have successfully cured HIV in several non-human primates. We're closer to a real cure. We've also cured HIV in human infants who were born with the disease. Extreme famine has been decreasing significantly the past decade on a global scale. After being diagnosed with breast and colon cancer last fall, my mom is, as of today, officially cancer-free. A malaria vaccine has been developed and is currently undergoing human trials. This could save hundreds of thousands of lives a year, many of them children. I was part of some human trials for this back in 2018. Lots of blood tests and health screenings, multiple vaccine shots, deliberate mosquito bites from buggers that were raised in a special lab to have malaria, then blood tests 10 days in a row, and I didn't get malaria. The state of Illinois has been working to eliminate food deserts and prevent the loss of independent grocers in small communities. One example is in the southmost town in Illinois, Cairo. They opened a grocery store in June. It's a co-op style store, so it's community-owned and operated. This after 7 years without access to fresh food. It's become a life-changing service to some members of this community already. While it's been having some struggles, there has been a great deal of support from the community and from surrounding communities, which has me convinced it will pull through the struggles. If this succeeds long-term, it will stand as a model for other communities to utilize in eliminating food access issues. My local animal shelter has a food bank for owners who can't afford food for their pets, and I'm sure it's not the only shelter that does it. I was at a diner in a small town in Michigan recently, and there were 2 drag queens eating. No one stared or said anything or looked uncomfortable. Based on everything you see in the news and the fact that I was in the part of Michigan that reliably votes Republican, I would have expected a reaction, but everyone was cool with it. Gave me a little hope that maybe people are generally better than we think. The real world is not Twitter. 90% of people are just out there living their lives. I travel for a living for the last 18 years, like 150 days a year on average travel, mostly the US and lately a ton of world international. This is how it's been pretty much the entire time. The events we hear about in the news make it seem like it's far more of a problem than it actually is. Makes a person wonder what else isn't as big of a problem as the media portrays. The global movement to plant trees is quietly making strides. India set a world record by planting over 66 million trees in a single day, contributing to a positive impact on the environment and climate. My daughter is 11 and in middle school. I always ask her if there are any bullies or like popular people. She always tells me that no one really bullies and there aren't really popular people that leave everyone else out. When I was in school, all anyone ever cared about was being popular and there were tons of bullies. If what she's saying is true, it gives me hope. Every day, millions of people choose to be kind. My foster daughter told me she loved me. People are becoming more trauma-informed, facing their wounds, and making sure the next generation's burden will be at least a little lighter. Had a friend tell me recently they had a fight with their mother and told their mom to go to therapy. So now their mom is going to therapy and has already started seeing positive progress in her life. It's helping both lineage directions and wonderful to see people healing. We have more knowledge and connectivity at our fingertips than ever before. Our ancestors may have only had a 5th grade education, but we can Google lecture videos of nuclear physics. This needs to be appreciated more. Would have given an award if I had one. Honeybees are at all-time high and are now considered overpopulated. The whole Save the Bees was never made for honeybees, but instead other species, such as the mining bees. Bees can mine now? What will they think up next? The ozone layer is thickening. The ozone is easily our best example of how we can effectively work to repair environmental damages. Using 3D printing and other newer tech to build schools and other important facilities in Africa and other places alike. We can also now use 3D printing to make cheap, reliable prosthetics and orthotics for amputees. This is especially great for children because they outgrow their prosthetics as they get older. Protons. That depends on whether they decay, no one knows for sure. If not, they are not happening, they just are. The sun rose again this morning and you are still here. We are glad that you made it. Be kind and make more people joyful.